Using absorption costing. Excellent. We are using absorption costing to arrive at our unit cost. So we know that there are two main parts of that. The first part is the prime cost, and the second part is the overheads. So we are coming to do the overheads. So like I said, if you are given a situation, if you are in a situation whereby the question gives you more than one activity level, okay, with their respective total overheads, first thing that should come to your mind is these overheads are step cost, or these overheads are mixed overheads, or these overheads are semi-variable overheads. Okay, so if they are semi-variable, then that means they are not fixed, they are not variable. They are part fixed, they are part variable, and as such, you need to separate the fixed part from the variable part. Simple. How do we separate it? We have at least 3 common methods that we can use. I told you the most sophisticated among them is linear programming, but as accountants, we don't use that here. The next method is by using scattered diagrams, and the third one, which is the easiest, is the high-low method. Okay, I was explaining to you how the high-low method works. The high-low method looks at the highest activity level compared to the lowest activity level. It looks at the overhead for the highest activity level and the overhead for the lowest activity level. So it finds the difference between the two overheads, and it finds the difference between the two activity levels, and the difference are divided by each other to arrive at our variable cost per unit, and that is substituted in one of the formula to give us our fixed element. So that's what exactly we're coming to do now. Okay, so so we're going to have our overheads. So we're going to have our overheads.
Sorry, Mr. Fofa.
Yes.
Overhead can consist both the variable and the fixed part.
And the fixed, exactly. So we have
when you are going to separate them.
Yes.
When you are calculating the overhead, you have to the overhead should only stick to the fixed part of it, or
no, the overheads are always two. You have the variable overheads and the fixed overheads. But in a situation whereby you are given more than one activity level with various overheads attached to each activity level, those overheads, each of them are mixed in their own. So you need to separate them so that you can have variable element and a fixed element. Okay, is that clear? So that's what we are coming to do now. So we have total overheads for month 1 are 620, and we have total overheads for month 2 are 700. Okay, so when you look at this, you won't be able to know, are you going to take month 1 or are you going to take month 2? You'll not be able to know that. Okay, but what you need to know is for each of these overheads, they are semi-variable. Okay, for each of them, the 620,000 and the 700 needs to be broken. Okay, so to break it to its variable and its fixed element, we use the high-low method. So that's what exactly we're coming to do. So I'll say overheads, then working. So I'll just put W in brackets. Shall we move? Okay. So we're going to open a new sheet, and we call it overhead. So this sheet, I'll just rename it. So to rename a sheet, to rename a worksheet, double click on it, and type. I'll type Edwards Company Limited. So that's the name of my worksheet. And then I'll change the color to green. Okay, so you can change the color to green. Okay, So when you look at the bottom here, this part will be white, but there will be green on here. So I want to open a new worksheet. Of course, you can do your work in here below this, fine. But I want to show you how you can do it on a different worksheet. And in exam, you are going to do it on a different page. Okay, so it's going to be the same scenario. So I'm going to open a new worksheet. I'll just say plus worksheet. I'll double click on it. I'll call it workings, W-O-R-K-I-N-G-S. And then I can choose to make that color blue instead of green. So that is blue. As you can see at the bottom here is bluish. At the bottom here is green. So this is my working. This is my main answer, and this is my working. Okay. So I'll come to my workings. Then I'll come here and just copy this. I can copy this. Then I'll paste it here just to save type. I don't have to type it again. So I'll save it, I'll put it here, say working. So we are going to find our variable cost per unit and our fixed cost by using high-low method. So we're going to separate semi-variable cost using high-low method. Okay, so this is what exactly we're going to do. So we will have our highest and we'll have our lowest. So the first column will have our, let me create one space here. Now I can do it here. So I can have my activity level. I'll not call it activity level, but what's the name of the activity level here in this question? What's the name?
Assembly level.
What's the name of the activity level?
Labor hours.
Assembly level.
Assembly labor hours. Assembly labor hours. So assembly labor hours is the name of our activity level and the corresponding overheads. Like I said, this overhead is mixed. I just call it total for production, total production overhead. Total production overheads. Okay? So we have the highest, we have the lowest. What's the highest activity level?
19,000.
19,000, is it? The highest activity level is 19,000?
It's 23,000.
Umaya, where are you looking? I hope you are not looking from the bottom.
Yeah, the lowest is 19.
The highest is 23 and the lowest is
19.
19,000. Okay, let's format them so that they can have 1,000 separator. So I'll highlight them. I go to format, number. I can just choose the number formatting, and then I will reduce the decimals to 0. Okay, then I will copy this this formatting as they have been highlighted. I can just, once they are highlighted, I can just click on the paint format or the paintbrush as is commonly called in Excel. I just click it, then I come and click here once, then the format is also copied here. Yeah, simple. Right, so what is the highest production overhead? Sorry, you don't say the highest production. Please, please be careful about this. Be careful about this. the production overhead for the highest activity level may not necessarily be the highest production overhead. Take note of that. So what I should say is, what is the total production overhead for the corresponding highest activity level?
700.
700.
Oh, excellent. Add one more zero. Okay, and what is the corresponding production overhead for the lowest activity level?
620.
620. So let us find their difference.
Mr. Governor.
Uh-huh.
So then the assembly level hours will determine the highest and the lowest of the overhead.
Not only the assembly level, the activity level. The activity, always you look at the activity level. The highest activity level and the lowest activity level. So you take the production overhead for the highest activity level and the production overhead for the lowest activity level. Take note, the highest activity level might not necessarily have the highest production overhead. What you are after is the highest activity level and the lowest activity level and their corresponding.
Okay, okay. That's what I was asking. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I hope it's clear now.
Yes.
Then now we find the difference between the two. Okay, we find the difference between the two. So the difference will be equals the highest minus the lowest. I enter, and then I will reproduce the formula here. Yeah. So the difference between the assembly labor hours for the highest and the lowest activity level is 4,000, and then the difference between the production overhead for the corresponding highest and lowest activity levels is 80,000. So whatever we're going to get here will always give us our variable cost per unit. Our variable cost unit. Okay? So whatever we're going to get here will give us our variable cost per unit. And our variable cost per unit will be the difference of the production overhead divided by the difference of the activity level. So our variable cost per unit is $20. It's $20. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear, Mr.
Very good. Okay, so now we move on. Now, simply, we need to substitute this in any of them, and then we'll have our fixed overhead. So we can take this variable cost per unit and substitute it here, that's with the highest, or we can take it and substitute it here with the lowest. It will always give us the same fixed overhead. So let's find our fixed overhead. We can do it twice so that we see what I'm talking about. Fixed overhead. Okay. So we'll say 1 using highest activity level. So it should be the same, but let's do it for both, and then we try to appreciate how. So we're going to calculate the fixed overhead twice, which should be the same. 1 by using the highest activity level, and then 2 by using the lowest activity level. So just copy and I just modify it. So using highest activity level and using lowest activity level. Yeah. So how should we substitute here? Can someone give me the formula, please? What should be our fixed overhead using highest activity level and our fixed overhead using lowest activity level? Can someone help us, please? Give me the formula that I need to put here.
Let me try.
Yes, try.
For the lowest, you can take the 6. For the lowest, you can take 620,000.
Okay, you want to start with lowest. Okay, I just come here. Okay, so just show me. It's a equals. I click on the 620 tab because it's already on here.
Yes.
Oh, baby.
620. Yes. Bracket open.
620 bracket open. Something should come before the bracket opens.
620.
Minus.
Minus, yes. Bracket open.
Bracket opens.
Like the number of units. 19,000.
Okay, that's C7.
Times the 20.
Multiply by. Thank you. Thank you. That is it. We enter. Okay, so let's do our highest. Who can help us to do the formula for the highest? Adese, don't disappear. Adese, tell us, help us. What's the formula should we use here? Where is Adese?
Mr. Fofana, let me try.
Okay, Ibrahim, yes, try.
Mr. Fofana.
Okay, yes,
Sorry,
Adese.
I was not in
Adese
class.
come first. Adese, yes.
Sorry, I'm not totally in class. My connection is having some issues.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going on and off. So what was the question?
I said, Mane just gave us the formula to calculate the fixed overhead using the lowest activity level. Can you give us the formula to calculate the fixed overhead using the highest activity level?
Hello, Mr. Boban.
Yes.
Let me try.
Adese, are you going to try? Or you are not following? Don't worry. Never mind. If you are not following, you can watch the video and then you'll be able to understand what we did. Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yes, you can come in. You can come in. Adese is having some connectivity issues. Yes, Ibrahim, come in.
Okay, equals to
Equals.
the highest activity level, that's 700.
Okay, so I click on the cell reference for 700, which is D6.
Minus.
Minus.
Bracket open.
Bracket opens.
Variable cost per unit.
The variable cost per unit.
Multiplied by the lowest activity level. The highest. The highest activity.
Because you are using the highest. So when you are using the low, when you use this, you use that one. When you use the highest, you use its correspondent. So multiplied by bracket close.
Level.
Are they different?
No.
They are not different. So they're the same. So the fixed overhead, no matter which activity level you use, it will always be the same. This is why we say fixed overheads don't change with activity level, isn't it? They don't change with activity level. Okay. So these are the two numbers that we need for our working. So I'm just going to color them up. And this one, we can use either, so they are all the same. Okay. So these are the two that we will need. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to format this so that it will be in the center. I'm gonna match everything. Then I'm gonna click this. For some of this, if you follow the video, you will understand because we need to go a bit fast because of time pressure. Yeah, so just to kind of give it a bit of presentation. So this one also, we could do the same thing. We match, we center, and then we can change the font color to white, and then the background, we can make it green. So it looks, wow. Okay. So this is the way we format. Formatting is very, very important, but it makes it look good. So now we have calculated, what have we calculated in a sense? We have calculated our OARs. We calculated our VOAR, and we calculated our FOAR. Okay? We've calculated our variable overhead absorption rate, and we have calculated our fixed overhead. No, sorry, we have not calculated our fixed overhead absorption. Sorry, we have not finished with our working. We need to calculate our fixed overhead absorption. So what we calculated was the fixed overhead. Sorry. We're going fast. I wanted to finish a bit early today because I have a wedding to attend, but we must finish this question anyway. Right. So, So what we did was we calculated the fixed overhead for 1 month. Okay. We calculated the fixed overhead for 1 month. So what we need to do is we need to find our fixed overhead absorption rate. Already, this variable cost per unit we've calculated is the same as our variable cost absorption rate. Okay, because this is what we're going to use to absorb. So we need our FOAR here as well. AR. Okay, that's what we need. So when you look at the question, it says, the very last sentence before the requirement, it says fixed production overheads are absorbed on an assembly hour basis based on normal annual activity levels. Take note, based on normal annual. And that this fixed overhead we have calculated is a monthly one. Look at it, because we are doing it month by month. So this fixed overhead that we have calculated, look at it, 240, it can never be an annual one, never. As you can see, you have a total cost of, let's say for month 1, if you have a total fixed overhead of 620, out of this 620, 240 will be fixed and the remaining will be variable. You look at month 2, you have got a total overheads of 700. Out of this, 240 will be fixed and the remaining will be variable. So you cannot have 240,000 as your annual, okay? So, and we have been told that we need to use the annual, okay? Because in a typical year, 240 assembly hours will be worked by Edwards Company. So these 240,000 assembly hours is our total activity level for the year. So what we have calculated is our total fixed overhead for 1 month. So we need to find for 1 year, because we all know, as we have learned from our previous lessons, from our previous absorption costing lesson, that to calculate our overhead absorption rate, what do? We find our overhead absorption rate by taking our total overheads divided by our total activity level, and then we multiply that by the actual activity to give us our absorbed overhead. Okay, so we're going to calculate our overhead. So the total annual fixed overhead total annual fixed overheads. Total annual fixed overheads will be equal to what? Who's that? Mute.
Aziz.
I'm sorry.
He was not aware. Okay, fine. So we find our total annual fixed overhead. So what will be our total annual fixed overhead? Can you give me the formula, please?
Sorry, Mr. Fon, should it be for the annual or for a month?
No, it's going to be for annual because you have already been given the annual activity level. So that's the 240,000. Don't confuse these the calculated 240,000 and the 240,000 that is given. The 240,000 that is given is the annual activity level, the annual assembly hours. So what these 240,000 we have calculated here is the monthly fixed overhead. So we have to find our annual fixed overhead divided by our annual assembly hours to give us our fixed overhead absorption rate. We need to be fast because it's almost 5 o'clock now. So the annual fixed overhead will be this 240,000, which is a monthly one, multiplied by 12. So that's 288. So we can apply how to call it, the formatting. So that will be 2,880,000. Okay, so that will be that. So we're going to put it in a formula and divided by the 240,000 hours that was given in the question. So our FOAR is $12 an hour. Is that clear? And we need this to absorb in our question.
I lost that part.
Sorry?
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
I think what you have calculated, this one, I think is just for M1 since you divided by 12 again.
Yes. So this one is just for a month. So that's why we have to calculate the annual fixed overheads, the total annual fixed overheads actually divided by the total annual assembly hours. So I'm going to make this wrap it. Okay. So this is it. So it's the total annual fixed overheads divided by our total annual assembly hours. So that gives us 12. Is that clear now?
Yeah, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
My question is, hence, absorption overheads for this thing annually is 240,000. It's annually. Fixed overhead we are having is monthly. So is it possible to have monthly absorption overhead?
No.
Monthly absorption?
No. In this question, we've been told that it's annually. Look at it. Look at the last paragraph. The last paragraph says fixed production overheads are absorbed on an assembly hour basis based on normal annual activity levels. Annual activity levels. So you don't use monthly. You use annual. Is that clear, Ibrahim?
Thank you very much. It's very clear.
Very good. So now we've calculated. Yes.
Therefore, can you please click on the fixed overheads using highest activity level?
Yes.
Just click on it, please.
Yes, I clicked it. So it's the C4, which is the 240,000. The 240,000 is the monthly fixed overhead multiplied by 12 to give you annual.
It's 70 now.
Annual fixed overhead. Then divided by the 240,000. The 240,000 is the annual assembly hours. Okay?
I mean the 240.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that one. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right.
How about the 14? The 14.
Week 14. Where did you see 14? Hey? Okay, we're going to move. So now we've calculated our rates, our variable cost per unit, which is the same as our variable FOAR, our variable overhead absorption rate, and this is our FOAR, our fixed overhead absorption rate. So our fixed overhead absorption rate is $12 per unit per hour, whilst our variable overhead absorption rate is $20 per hour. So we're coming to absorb them here. Simple. So we have our variable costs, our variable overheads here. Okay, so we're going to absorb it. How can we absorb it here? Very simple, just like we've been doing before. Can someone give me the formula? Equals, what is the actual activity level per unit here?
It's 20.
It's
So
30. It's 30 minutes. The actual activity level per unit is 30 minutes because you use 30 minutes to to produce each of them according to the question, isn't it? So we say equals, bracket opens, we convert that 30 minutes to hours, so 30 divided by 60, bracket closes, okay, multiplied by our rate. Okay, where is our variable overhead rate? So once you say equals 30 divided by 60, bracket closes, multiply by, then you click your workings, and then you go to the cell that has got your rate. That cell is what? C11. So click on C11 and you enter. Can you see? So once you enter, it will tell you equals 30 over 60 multiplied by workings exclamation mark C11. I told you when you have a word and exclamation mark after it, meaning is the name of the sheet. Okay, C11 of that sheet, which is the working sheet. Okay, is this clear?
Mr. Faulkner, I'm still confused on the way you calculated your FOAR. Now you have 12.
The way I calculated our FOAR, yes. I've said that many, many times. I said to calculate our FOAR, we all know this. We've done this many, many, many times. Okay? To calculate FOAR, in this question here, we've been told that you need to use annual figures. Annual fixed overhead and annual assembly hours. That's the activity level. So we all know to calculate our fixed overhead absorption rate is the total fixed overhead divided by the total activity level. In this case, it's annual for all of them. So we have calculated our monthly. So we change this to annual, and then we divide by the 240. The 240,000 annual is given to us in the question, 240,000 hours. So that's the way we got our 12. Okay? I think we need to go because I need to go and attend a wedding. You know, the prayer should be at 5 o'clock, and it's already 5 o'clock, and we need to complete this question. Okay, please, if you don't understand, if you watch the video, you will definitely understand. Okay, so for fixed overheads here, for fixed overhead, what formula do we put here? Similar to what I did here. So what formula do we put here?
I think equals.
Equals,
the 12 that you have in the cell that we have in the working cell.
Bracket open. Now let's start with the 30 divided by 60 first.
Yeah.
We start with the difficult one. 30 divided by 60. Okay. Bracket closes. No. Okay. Yeah. Bracket closes. Multiplied by
12.
Oh, I just typed 12.
Can go to the next cell.
I just click on the workings,
yeah,
and then I go to the cell that has got 12, then I enter. Okay, so that's what the fast way of doing it. I've just did it. The fast way of doing it, when you look at this formula, the only difference that it will have with this will be the cell reference for the fixed overhead. So you can copy this formula and modify. So copy, paste, copy, paste. So once you paste, it gives you 0 because it's taking it from a different position. So instead of 11 here, it has moved to 12, and 12 doesn't have anything. So what you will do is you come to your workings, and then you look at the cell reference for this. It's what? C what?
C18.
18, good. So you come here, and instead of C12, you say C18. So and then you enter. Once you enter, look at it. It has done for you.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are done. So let's calculate our total cost. Let's calculate our total cost, our total unit cost, of course. Our total unit cost will be equal to some bracket opens. We're going to start from the total of the prime cost down to the fixed cost because we've already calculated the total, the prime cost. So that gives us 35.93. So let's bold that whole column, bold. Now, the next thing is let us calculate our target cost. So our target cost, what is our target cost? In the question we've been given, the selling price is $44, and then there is what? There is a profit margin of 20%. Okay, so it's going to be 44 multiplied by 20%. So whatever you get, you remove that from.
That's 35.2.
Okay, so but there is a fast way. How do we calculate it? We say equal 44 multiplied by bracket opens. No, we can just say 44 multiplied by instead of multiply by 20% minus 20%, you can just say you can divide by 100 from 100%, and you are left with 80%. 80% is 0.8. So directly you can apply 44 multiplied by 0.8. It's the same thing as 44 multiplied by 20%. Whatever you get, you deduct that from 44. As accountants, we don't do that. We know that 20%, if 20% of a number, okay, is deducted from the number, it's like you're deducting 20% from 100%. 20% from 100% is 80%. So it's the same as applying 80% to the number directly. So the target cost will be 80% of the sales. Is that clear? So 80% of the selling price is 35.2. So in that case, what is our cost gap? Can someone give me the formula for the cost gap? We know our total unit cost, we know our target cost. What's the formula for the target cost? Sorry, what is the formula for our cost gap?
Equals C14 minus C15.
C15. We enter. Excellent. So our cost gap will be 0.73. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to increase the font size to 12 so that it stands out. So our total cost is $35.93. Our target cost is 35.2, and our cost gap is 0.73. Okay. So any questions? I think we have to stop here. I have to go. Any questions, please?
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Fafana.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alhaji, yes.
Hello, Mr. Fafana.
Yes. Who is talking? Alhaji?
Hello.
Yes. Mohammed? Yes. Mohammed, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Fafana, last time. No, this Mohammed Hyder.
Hi, Mohammed, yes.
Last time. Last time say